We spent a week watching the show Bridgerton, and let me tell you that the fire was not just happening on screen, it was happening off screen too. Hey, I'm Heather and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a place where I coach busy moms who want to double their business without doubling the amount of time they spend on it. Today we're talking about reconnection in marriage, and the reason this is so important is because when you're building your business, we don't want our business to take away from our family life or our marriage. We want all of these areas to be thriving together, and I want to tell you that it's totally possible to do that. Before we get into it though, if you like these videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends if you find it helpful. Today we're talking about how to build reconnection in your marriage. And I'm gonna approach this a little different today and tell you a bit more of my personal story. I'm used to sharing my tips and tricks, but I realize that it is much more impactful to share your story. And sometimes I just get scared because it feels really vulnerable. And I would love for you guys to just think that I'm super strong and have it all together, when the truth is I'm a mess, just like you, a beautiful mess. So I want to just take you back 13 years ago to when my husband and I got married. We got married in Cuba on January 10th of 2008. And when we first got married, there was so much connection and passion and freedom in our relationship. But over time, there was an erosion of our trust. At some point along the journey, we stopped telling each other the brutal, honest truth. And it wasn't this big, huge rift that formed all of a sudden. There wasn't infidelity. There wasn't, these big lies that we were telling each other. It was just in the little things. Instead of saying what I was really thinking, I held back, and he did the same. And after 13 years of all those little times of holding back, there was a lot of disconnection in our relationship. Now, let me pause and just say that we've always had a lot of things going for us. We've always really liked each other. We've been great friends and partners. We're great co-parents, and we love to dream together. So there's been tons of ways that we have stayed really connected. But when it came to the intimacy and passion and fire in our relationship, there was a breakdown. And the reason that we weren't experiencing that connection, and I realize this now, but I didn't at the time, is because there wasn't total and complete trust. We weren't being brutally honest with each other. We were trying to manage each other's emotions by editing down what we were really thinking and feeling so as not to hurt the other person. And it got to a point this last couple of months where I realized that there was things I wanted in my marriage. I wanted the passion, I wanted the freedom, I wanted the fun and the play, and I wasn't experiencing them. And so I got to this breaking point where I had to really ask myself, am I going to sacrifice all of those things that I really want, that safety and connection and intimacy, or am I going to go after it 110%, even if it means that it's not with my husband? And that was a scary thing to say, especially because I'm someone who has Christian values, and I don't think that divorce is the first option. I don't really think anyone thinks divorce is the first option, but I had to put it back on the table, and I had to remind myself that I actually do have a choice in the matter. So that kind of began a journey of us reconnecting, and I want to share 3 of the things that really helped us reconnect. The first was me reconnecting with myself. I've always felt like I know myself pretty well, and especially over the last few years with getting coaching. But I hired a relationship coach in December, and one of the things she really challenged me to do was to really get in touch with what I wanted. Not just what I felt I needed, but what I desired. And that was a foreign concept for me because as a wife and a mom and a business owner, we spend a lot of our time thinking about what everybody else wants and trying to make everybody else happy. And I realized that one of my deepest fears is having people feel disappointed. There's a part of me that still believes that I can disappoint people. I can disappoint my kids. I can disappoint my husband. And so I had to really let go of that and realize I can't control someone else's disappointment. And it was much more powerful and important for me to tap into what I really wanted. Did I want to be in a relationship where there wasn't safety and connection? Was I willing to sacrifice that desire in order to just do the right thing? That was the first thing, was reconnecting with myself. Another huge part of reconnecting with myself has been the practice of meditation, which I've shared about in the 10-minute meditation challenge and also in last week's episode, which you can check out if you haven't seen it already. But just really starting to reintegrate body, soul, and spirit and reconnect with myself has been a huge part of this journey. Because if we're not deeply connected with ourselves and our own desires, how can we express those desires to our partner, and how can we actually believe for and fight for them? The second is I had to redecide if I wanted to be in this marriage. Now, I grew up in a family where the phrase was divorce is not an option. So I knew as a kid that my parents were going to stay together, that they never considered divorce an option. And for me as a kid, that gave me a feeling of safety and security. But as an adult in a relationship, in a marriage, that phrase started to hold me back because it had me compromising what I really wanted and settling for a relationship that wasn't living up to its full potential. And in a lot of ways, I was creating that result because I was choosing to be with somebody who I didn't fully trust and who I didn't have that level of safety with. And so I had to put my marriage back on the table and say, the way it is right now, do I still want to be in this relationship? And my answer was no, not the way it is right now. And communicating that to my husband was one of the scariest, most emotional conversations I've ever had, because I wasn't saying I wanted to leave him. I was saying that I was done with what we currently had, and that my first choice would be to rebuild something with him, but that we were going to have to rebuild because what we were living in wasn't the abundant life that I knew that God had for me and the abundant marriage that I knew I was designed for. And so I had to lay it all down. I had to surrender the outcome and surrender control. And when I did that, I had the opportunity to redecide if I wanted to stay in this relationship. And my husband and I had some brutally honest conversations with each other. There was lots of tears, but what we came to is that we were both willing to fight for deeper connection and intimacy, and we were going to do whatever it took. So that was number 2, was us redeciding that we wanted to be in this relationship, but create something new. And the third thing that we've done that's created so much connection in our relationship is we have incorporated more play. Whether that's us teasing each other, whether that's us dancing together in the kitchen, which we've never done before, but now we do regularly, doing, fun date nights. We bought a book called The Adventure Challenge, and it gives you all kinds of fun ideas and date nights. And the reason that's been so important is because play really requires us to be vulnerable, to show that childish, unedited part of ourselves. And that takes trust and safety. But as we step out and play and see that the other person is there, accepting us and loving us and joining in the play with us, it starts to rebuild that sense of safety. And all of that has caused us to have a deeper connection and a deeper level of intimacy in our relationship than we have ever had before. We keep calling this our second honeymoon, but it's even better because we already know each other and we already have that depth of experience and time together. And now we also have this passion and fire, and it's just been so incredible. So I am sharing way more about our relationship and how we walked through this journey and how we found this deeper level of intimacy and connection and fire and passion in February in Life Launch. And if you've always been curious about Life Launch, you need to come check it out in February. It's going to be so fun. Alex is going to be joining me for one of our calls. We're going to have my relationship coach that's helped walk us into all of this connection coming to do a guest speaker call. And there's always weekly group coaching sessions, an online course, so many great resources. If you have been feeling like you want that fire back in your relationship and you've been wondering if it's possible for you, I want to tell you it is. And I want to walk you through that step-by-step process, going into much greater detail and depth than what I've shared here today in Life Launch. So check out the link below this video and sign up today.